Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Christine Grace. Today is another reaction video. Guys, please like the video on your way in and let's get straight into it.
What were some of the things you were told about men while growing up?
Don't trust them. Yeah, I agree with that one.
What is the most surprising thing you've learned about men from your experiences?
You can't trust them. Facts.
Do you prefer a man who is a gentleman or a bad boy?
Bad boy. Bad boy.
It's almost as if the two answers there correlate. It's almost as if picking bad boys is going to lead to you not trusting men. Funny that.
Is it fair to say women lust after bad boys but want to settle down with nice guys?
Yeah.
If you happen to be looking for a quality man, where would you expect to find one?
Quality man. Church. Yes.
When was the last time you went to church?
That's so good. That's so funny. These women are not living inside reality. They're living inside a story that they were told when they were young that says that men cannot be trusted. And they wholeheartedly believe this story to be true, which is why it's so...
It's actually kind of devastating because it's like you've obviously had no positive male influence in your life to be able to say that like all men can be grouped into this group of don't trust them, like men are bad.
Funny when his Socratic questioning starts pointing to reality. Do you know where the quality men are? Yes, so why don't you go there? You think men can't be trusted, but then why do you go for the bad boys instead of the gentlemen? The women laugh because their bubble burst. The ridiculousness of their story was exposed when reality asserted itself. I'm going to share a depressing truth that you may or may not have figured out yet, which is that very few people live inside reality. And in this video, I'm going to explain the 4 things that block women from seeing reality. These are stories, emotions, ideologies, and faith. Let's start with stories. Imagine you see your life not as descriptions in a scientific textbook, but instead an epic narrative, a tale of heroism. You are the main character of this story, and you have your own unique suffering. You achieve, you struggle. It's like you're playing out.
So many people live life like this. There was a couple of videos I reacted to recently where women use that phrase, what is it? Main character energy.
Out some incredible drama. You're living in a story. If that's the way that you see your life, that's going to color your perception of existence. That's going to block you from actually seeing reality. Your awareness is going to be limited to those facts that support your story. You're only going to assign significance to that data that you come across that strengthens your perception of this story. So what kind of a story am I talking about? Well, let's choose a very popular one that women are telling themselves these days, which is that they are victims. When a woman has a victim narrative, she believes that everything is against her and everyone is discriminating against her. And because that's the narrative she's living in, she recreates that story in all kinds of different situations. As she lives her life, she doesn't see reality as it is. She's only seeing those parts of reality that reinforce her story. I heard Konstantin Christen reference this fascinating study where they painted facial scars using like...
Yes, I was speaking about this on a live a few weeks ago. It's so interesting. I know exactly what he's referring to. They literally put a scar on women's face and they told women that they were going to like touch it up before they left. But they took it off. They completely took it off and the women all came back and reported that they were being discriminated against because of the scar. The scar wasn't there.
Fancy movie makeup on the faces of women just before a job interview. And so women thought that they're going to have this interview and they've got this, deformity on their face. And at the last minute, they get the makeup artist to just like touch it up. Whereas actually what they did was completely wiped it off. So their face looks normal. But the women believe that they're going in there with this big facial scar. Afterwards, when they're reporting on what the interview was like, they're all like, I was discriminated against. He kept looking at the scar. He kept making comments about it. Of course, it's all in their head. There was no scar. But you see, the facts of reality get twisted in order to feed this story. When you're lost in victimhood, you only ever interpret facts in such a way that's going to support your narrative. We saw plenty of examples of that in my course. So what happens when a woman has been living in a story over a long period of time is that she sinks further and further into delusion. That is the consequence. When you confront a woman like this with reality, her reaction is always priceless. Let's take a look.
What is your ideal age for your man?
30.
What race is your ideal man?
Black.
Black. Minimum height?
6'3".
Minimum income?
90,000.
90,000? The likelihood of you finding your man is 0.036%.
Her face. To me, that's funny because it demonstrates the distance between a woman's story and reality. Her story is that she's entitled to a man who has this and this and this and this. Her story says that's what she deserves. That's what's coming to her. There's no need to settle or compromise, except that the reality of her finding a man like that is 0.03% or whatever he said. Modern women have an abundance of these stories that are not grounded in reality. Men can't be trusted. Women are morally superior to men. I deserve a top 1%.
Women are more caring than men. Yeah, it's all complete delusion. And don't get it twisted, like the
More theories on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook that are going to make us question reality, change our mind, make us rethink things, question stuff. Whatever the case is, whatever the title is for this video is what we're doing today. I'm excited. Can't wait to react to these. Shout out to each and every single one of you guys that have sent in videos and that are going to send videos. So I thank you guys in advance. But that's it for me. Let's go ahead and get into today's reaction video. Thank you, DeAndre, for the video.
The age of lab-grown meat has arrived in this country. The Agriculture Department just approved 2 California companies to sell chicken grown in steel tanks using cells that come from an animal egg or a special bank of stored cells. The cell-cultivated chicken will first be available at a restaurant in San Francisco and another one in Washington, D.C., owned by famed chef Jose Andres, before hitting stores.
Why? Why?
Now, the reason that's important is they hate America. And if you can get that picture, plus you have the Belt and Road Project, you have most of the world that's not, I'm going to hope you don't get censored with me saying this, but the world that they're going into is a non-Christian world. I'm not being, religious and all this. I'm not being political. I'm saying it's, Muslim, Hindu, Islam, and all this. So this is a very big move, is because the world, who is not white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant Christian, like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, England, they're joining up against the Western currency called the dollar. And so the BRICS is not if, it's only when. Jim Rickards says it best. He says, it's not if, it's when they switch to gold. That's what they're saying. I agree with him.
Wow. I mean, you're an advocate of returning to a gold standard. I mean, this is something that you wanted to see here in the U.S., right?
Well, I don't like to tell people. Trump is my really good friend. We wrote 2 books together, but I'm not political. It's a dirty game, So I say to people, I'm not Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative. I'm a free agent, and I say to people, get back on your own gold standard. Why wait for the government to do it for you? Yeah. Just get on your own gold standard. So as you know, Danielle, all of these years.
Stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. And then it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Keep that here. Thank you, Retro, for the video.
Have you ever heard of the Phineas and Ferb theory?
No, what is that?
This is gonna ruin your day again.
Again?
We all know Phineas and Ferb is about 2 brothers that go on these crazy adventures, and their sister Candace always tries to get them in trouble.
Right.
But this is where the theory comes in. There's a theory that Phineas is actually dead and isn't really there.
Okay, no way.
It's actually Candace's imagination because she misses her brother Phineas and wishes he was there for Ferb.
What?
You know, like how the show says there's 104 days of summer?
Yeah.
There's actually 189 episodes, so how does that make sense?
Wait, what the heck?
The show was on for 4 seasons. The kids stay the same age. They never age. You know why?
Why?
Because Candace only remembers Phineas at that age because that's the age he died. She never saw him get older, so she doesn't know what he looks like.
No.
Whenever Phineas and Ferb are doing something crazy, Candace is always like, Mom, look at what they're doing. And the mom doesn't see anything. She's like, what are you talking about? She feels bad for Candace because she knows she's just imagining her brother because she misses him.
What? Why does this make so much sense?
I know, it's so
He his dad? Like, I need some context here.
If I can catch it, maybe I can use its poison to cure disease. Or start a global that wipes out most of society. Either way, I'll be famous.
Somebody call the police.
Hold on. One more time?
If I can catch it, maybe I can use its poison to cure disease. Or start a global that wipes out most of society. Either way, I'll be famous.
Either way, I'll be famous.
Have you ever heard the conspiracy theory that some of your favorite artists are frauds with no vocal talent and their vocals are recorded by other famous artists? I think we're being lied to because Nicki Minaj sounds exactly like Jay-Z if you just slow her songs down.
Yo, I never wait, I never drink.
And listen to him singing Anaconda. Jay-Z is a super freaky girl. The music industry will do anything to make money, so the theory goes that they find an artist with a profitable voice and tone, and then they pitch it up or down and give it to someone that they think could be a profitable image and face for that voice. For each other because they're both rappers with a New York accent. Del records for Sam Smith because they're both British singers who only sing depressing ballads. And Justin records for Post Malone because they're both male pop stars with a similar edge. No artists have commented on this, obviously, but they all seemingly affirm that they do their own vocals. But we need to hear the craziest example, which is Adele and Sam Smith. But before I play it, make sure you follow so you finally know the craziest conspiracy theories about each of these celebrities and request who you want to see next.
This one's scary. That is some interesting stuff. Thank you, Michael, for the video.
You're not going to believe this story. There's a guy that posted a video claiming the house in front of him is a lab and a dinosaur is trying to get out. I don't know what to think about this video. He claims a dinosaur is coming out of someone's backyard. Let me know what you guys think because this video is pretty crazy. Pay close attention.
We're back there. I saw a head. I swear. There's a dinosaur in that building. It's trying to get out. But there's a tree blocking. I can only see the head. I saw like a mouth like this. I think it's some kind of Tyrannosaurus. Oh, look, there it is. There it is. Where is it at? I saw the top of the head right there. I swear. Look, you hear it's trying to get out. Oh. It's a whole Tyrannosaurus. See? Look, there's the head right there. Oh, dang. Hold on, let me zoom in. Oh, look, there's the head. There's the head right there. Look. Look. I told you. Now it's hiding behind that tree, but it's trying to get out. I've been telling everybody that there's been dinosaurs locked up in that building for years. I've lived here for 2 years. I hear the noises at night. And finally, I think it broke the shackles and it's trying to get out of that building. Y'all saw it shake, right? I know I ain't the only one. Boy, get inside.
What the heck? Because I was like, what are you looking at? Like, this man tweaking, whatever the case is. Now, do I think it's a dinosaur? No, I don't. But I was like, all right, dude, come on now. But when I see the roof,
yeah, it's some weird shit. It's weird. It's very weird. It's all very creepy. And the fact that it was a real place. I told you, like, I was telling people that Alex Jones told me about that a long time ago. I thought he was out of his fucking mind. There's a place, they take them, they compromise them, they have sex with kids, and like, what?
Your fucking impression is so good.
I've known that guy forever. I knew that guy before he talked like that. His voice wasn't as scraggly. All the years of tequila and vodka. But I thought it was nuts, and it turned out to be true.
Yeah, but
yeah, it's a fucked up world we live in. We need Jesus. I think for real. Like if he came back now, it'd be great. Like Jesus, if you're thinking about coming back
right now,
now's a good time.
Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah,
now's a good time. We're kind of fucked.
Well, there's a lot of people that think that might be coming.
Well, it might be.
Mark of the beast.
That might be the aliens. I mean, that might be what all this stuff is. It might be we reach a certain point where we're so unmanageable and so chaotic that something comes down and gives us a guideline. I mean, this is what Moses essentially experienced, supposedly, right? When he came back with his 10 commandments. This is supposedly what, these people that have had these religious visions, there's a way to follow, and there's a greater power that's above everything that controls this whole thing and keeps it all together.
This shit matters.
Yeah.
That,
it does matter.
Yeah, like everything we do matters. I think if atheists, I think, can find their own religion. It might be religion of science or religion of climate change or whatever it might be. But to not believe in a higher power means that really nothing I do matters, ultimately. I live, I die, that's it. I have a hard time with that because I believe there's a seen world and an unseen world. And there's forces of good and forces of evil. And that there's a purpose for all this. And there's, there's a lot of reasons why we're doing this. There's a lot of opportunities to do this. If there is the Christianity part and Jesus wants to come back and save everything.
It'd be good right around now.
Yeah. I got to think that something, I think this is going to be a crazy year. I think something, especially if it gets down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's a wild world we live in. The fact that all this is true, and that this is like inarguably true. All the things we're saying is inarguably true.
It's not the words. Like they talk about some of the stories in the ancient texts and in the Bible. They, they don't have the words to explain like what a spaceship is. It's like, no, it's like a chariot in the sky.
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
When you pull up the description that Ezekiel had of the wheel within a wheel, my God, it sounds like a UFO.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people, I would like to talk to Tucker Carlson about this, because Tucker Carlson has this belief too. He just talked to people about this, and he thinks it's always been here, and that it's a part of existence, and that this is a part of these biblical stories of angels and devils, and that's what they're really talking about. They're talking about these interdimensional beings. Yeah, it's likely that they've always been here, and it might be connected somehow or another to our minds. The mind, which produces psychedelic chemicals, might also be a gateway to other dimensions. Whatever you experience when you experience dimethyltryptamine, which we know is produced by the brain, which is the key component of ayahuasca, you experience entities. You experience exactly what they're talking about there.
Yeah.
So what is that? Do we just dismiss that as hallucination?
I think we legalize it and promote it and encourage people to do it.
And then the aliens come. and then we realize they've been here all along. I think they've probably been here all along. I think they're...
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Huge shout out to all the iTrack fan, man. Appreciate each and every one of you guys for tapping in like you always do. If this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fiction. If you haven't already, do me a favor and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it.
For fear that you'll lose yourself in their expectations of you.
Well, I've felt that way for a long time. And then I see my big face on that movie screen with no makeup on and my natural hair color, and I'm like, oh, I just gave it away. I mean, I have always liked Shapeshift.
Right.
Oh wait, did Lady Gaga tell on herself?
3 billionaires in their enemy year. Number 1, P. Diddy, forced to step down because of sexual allegations. Next, another billionaire, Vince McMahon of 1945, that is billionaire, forced to step down because of sexual harassment or whatever it is, just heinous crimes. Whether he's guilty or not, they got both charged in the enemy year, and they both had to step down. And Mr. Tepper, not to that degree, but yes, his NFL team went 2-15, the worst in the NFL this year. And Mr. Matthew Perry, he lost the ultimate price, his life. So we just went through 4 people in their enemy year who had issues, some they're not coming back from. People who are born in dog years, every single one of you need to be careful. Now, I also said something about David Tepper. He's another billionaire. He became a billionaire the American way, not through Hollywood, but through stocks and stuff like that. He left Goldman Sachs in a rooster year and made an empire for himself. But he's interesting because he actually owned an NFL team called the Carolina Panthers. And you know what happened? They were the worst team in the NFL this year, 2-15. So again, no matter who you are, you get hit. Believe me, this is a competitive man, and he got hit his enemy year, and he has no idea why this happened.
Now that's wild. The only way we can prove this is let me know if you were born in a dog year and if you've been getting whooped.
Could this be a grand experiment? It's very possible as well.
Are you getting into we're living in a simulation?
I believe that we're living in a simulation.
I don't understand it. I don't understand when people say we're living in a simulation. I have no idea what they're talking about.
So if you understand that we're still talking about a creation, right? So we believe, most people believe that we're living in a created universe. I happen to believe so because when I look at the science, the quantum physics proves to me that someone or something created this. This isn't just pop up out of the blue and just, hey, here we are. There's a universe with people in it. So if you look at the quantum physics and what's been done recently in laboratories, scientists were able to do something incredible. They created an 8th dimensional quasi-crystal. Now this 8th dimensional quasi-crystal, it gave them a glimpse into understanding the 3rd dimension, and this is how. When they positioned it in a particular angle, it created, excuse me, when they positioned it in a particular angle, it created something called a 4th dimensional quasi-crystal. And when they positioned the 4th dimensional quasi-crystal in a particular angle, it cast a shadow of a sphere. And the sphere is our universe. So they discovered that we are living in the shadow of a higher dimension. In other words, the angle of a higher multidimensional quasi-crystal potentially could be what has created this gigantic sphere we call our universe. And what's interesting about that is this is a shadow, but not a shadow of darkness, it's a shadow of light. It's a light matrix. We're talking about the spiritual technology utilized to create this entire realm. This entire realm was created with some type of spiritual technology, and this technology is so incredible, it's imbued with divine matter, divine wisdom, divine knowledge, but it's also imbued with darkness. But what's interesting about the darkness in this yin and yang, it always seems to be a battle against each other, but in the end, for the most part, the light always seems to win. Even if it takes a long period of time, the cycle happens where the darkness leaves and the light comes in. We're sitting in a room right now that's pretty well lit, right? If I was to turn on something dark, I couldn't make the light dim any. In other words, there's no darkness I can inject into this room with these physical lights that would make this room dark right now. But if I turn all these lights off and just do something as simple as turn on the light on my cell phone, the darkness will flee from that light instantaneously. So the smallest amount of light will make darkness flee. And so I take that to the universal scale because I believe it's all fractal. I believe that it's all as above, so below. And it's all about how many conscious beings does it take before the darkness flees. There's a number that we have to hit. When we hit that specific percentage of number of awakened souls on this planet, that's when it will flee. What we're talking about is obtaining Christ consciousness. I get a little emotional about this because it's so powerful. Sorry. So we're talking about this. See, Christ never said he was returning. Jesus never said he was coming back. He said that Christ will return. We're talking about this. When every single person gets this right, it's back. And we're back in the golden age.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You want to take a break?
You know what I took from that? It's kind of like saying, like, when you're going through a dark time in your life, you literally just have to keep going because those dark times do not last. So yeah, he was saying a lot without really even saying too much, you know, if you were paying attention.
Yeah.
It's not even raining that hard.
No.
It's just wicked thunder and lightning.
Now, I haven't seen it like that. That looked a little bit deeper than CGI. Like, I'm not too sure. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if you know something I don't, let me know.
That phone, by the way, if you say like, please like turn off, it just says that it's off. It's not actually off.
It's lying.
It could totally lie.
Yeah. And you can't take the battery out anymore.
Basically, like Apple or Android, anytime they want, they can just turn your mic on.
Yeah.
Or your camera, your GPS, everything. And just tell you it's off. Well, I looked in settings, it says it's off.
Yeah, and some people, that's not good enough. I want it strapped to my wrist.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I need one on me all the time.
Yeah, I mean, these days, like a modern smartphone it's like a tiny cell phone on your wrist. Basically.
It is.
Yeah. It even has the cellular connectivity and everything.
Everything. It has everything.
Like, your phone is better than the best computer that Earth had by far in 1969 when we landed on the moon.
Yeah, by far.
By far.
Well,
not even close. I mean, Orwell would be losing his mind.
This is what the LA River looks like from the 6th Street Bridge after 2 days of rain. There's downtown, that's Maze Bank, and here is the LA River.
All right, this is a super exciting video because you know how the farmers are protesting all around Europe. There's like dozens of countries, man. France, Italy, Germany, Spain, the Netherlands, Romania. Everyone's protesting against the World Economic Forum. But now it's come here. It's come to our beautiful, beautiful land of the North soil on Vancouver Island in BC. Farmers have already began protesting. Honk, honk, motherfuckers, it's back. Welcome back to another video, everybody. This is super exciting. We got more protests breaking out here in Canada. But before we get into the exciting news, I want to encourage everyone to smash the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and please consider turning post notifications on so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. As well as, since we're talking about the World Economic Forum and since we're talking about Canada's involvement, why don't you get yourself a matching sticker like the one I have right here of Klaus Schwab penetrating Justin Trudeau, link down in the description or the pinned comment below. This is a 20% off sticker bundle. You get all these stickers here on the screen. Highly recommend doing it. They've already sold out multiple times. They're selling out again. I got to keep restocking inventory, but nonetheless, let's get into the reason why you're watching this video. All right, so Rebel News is on the scene. Local farmers are calling out back in the UN sustainability goals at a protest happening right now in Duncan, BC, which is on Vancouver Island.
What to hell is paved with the United Nations sustainability goals, and we as the people say no more. For the last 4 years, for no reason, my water is perfect. They're just trying to put stress on
They say they were going to
business
add
owners like
chlorine.
myself. They want to add chlorine to my well water, which it doesn't even need. So I've spent $100,000 trying to comply with the government with my water. Wow. I'm so far still complying, but every month they're throwing something new at me with my well, and it just doesn't seem to end.
All right, so you got farmers that are attesting to a bunch of the bullshit sustainability goals, and now for the most beautiful thing that you're gonna see today. All right, the most beautiful thing. Canadian farmers are joining the European protests against government taxes and regulations. Here are some tractors in Duncan, Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island in BC. This protest needs to grow across the country. Protests have happened in the following countries: France, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, Lithuania, Romania, Belgium, Greece, Italy, Portugal, Ireland, Canada. All right. And Spain is also on this list. And I don't know if I've missed any more. Next to join England, USA, Mexico. Look at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful honk honk tractor protest. I know it's small. I know you're thinking, how is that even a protest? Bro, just wait and see. Because look, they're already lining up. BC farmers were out in Duncan, Vancouver Island today to protest against land conservation nonprofit called Nature Trust of BC, who is wanting a letter of support from Cowichan Valley Regional District to submit to the Agricultural Land Commission to flood 172 plus acres of productive and fertile farmland in the Cowichan Valley Valley, which 3 dairy farms rely on to feed. The Citizens Oversight Accountability Project documented the protests, and you can check them out and support. Okay, so this is happening. The farmers' protest is not just happening in Europe. It's going to start on Vancouver Island in BC, and then it's going to expand to all of the other places in BC. It's going to hit the mainland of BC soon. You're going to start seeing it in Vancouver. You're going to start seeing it in the Okanagan. You're going to start seeing it in northern BC. Alberta's definitely going to join. Saskatchewan, they got nothing else but to do except drive on flat land, so of course they're going to protest. It's going to start happening everywhere across Canada. So I'm not the hub here to organize the protest. Please don't get that mixed up. I'm just gathering the information of what's happening, and I'm presenting you with the clips, the raw, unedited clips in a structured format. But now we're going to segue into what's happening back in Europe. This is very exciting, folks. For those who are fed up with the World Economic Forum, for those who are pissed off with this whole new 2030 agenda, this is super intense what's happening. Hundreds of farmers are in a protest at the Welsh government, all right? Everywhere around the world. Tractors, farmers, people who are fed up are banding together. It's picking up steam and momentum every single day. This is what Canadian farmer protests are going to look like very, very soon. Look at that lineup. Look at how beautiful that is. All right, folks. We got some more clips lined up here. Here is the latest edition, Spain. Massive farmers protest in Spain against the 2030 agenda. Look at that, man. Blocking the highway with tractors. A bunch of farmers are pissed off. Look at that long line. It's insane. It's insane. The government's saying that they can just do this and take instructions by a non-government body such as the World Economic Forum that has this very weird and sadistic influence over the entire world. It's just not going to happen. People are not going to... Look how big this is. This is huge. Look at all the freaking tractors, man. So if you're on board with, just pretty much the government's hypocrisy, you're done being gaslit, you're fed up with the lies, the mis and disinformation, their favorite words, and you think that there's something wrong going on in the world, you're not alone, man. And that's why you should subscribe if you're not already subscribed to this channel, because that's what we're bringing to light every single day. We're not just focused.
Well, welcome to this talk, and it's really quite an important one, and I'm delighted to welcome Mr. John O'Looney he's a funeral director from Milton Keynes Family Funeral Services Limited, real place, real time. John, thanks so much for coming on.
You're more than welcome. Thanks for having me on, John.
Now, we started talking because we've got a mutual concern about these white fibrous clots that are coming out of the circulatory system of many deceased individuals.
Yes.
And you're involved in this embalming process, John. The blood is taken out and replaced with embalming fluid. When did you first notice something?
So really in 2021, about halfway through, we started seeing lots and lots of people who were passing away suddenly, who were a lot younger than those that we were used to. You know, as a funeral director, I've been a funeral director for 18 years. 10 years I spent working for one of the big main funeral providers. The last 8 years I've worked for myself, running my own funeral home. And you kind of get to know, in very much the same way as doctors in general practice, know who should present when at what time of the year and what numbers. And the numbers were very off, and we were seeing, and we continue to see, lots and lots of young sudden deaths, which correlate perfectly, of course, with the humongous amount of excess deaths that we're seeing, that nobody seems to want to address.
So these white clots, just to be clear, the first time you can remember seeing them was 2021, not 2020, and never before that.
No, and I've got so in the 18 years that I've been a funeral director, 7 of those years were spent working for the coroner. So my job was body recovery, and I would recover people in all different various states. And whilst I wouldn't know the Latin term for every ligament and nerve, I could tell you what's normal and what isn't normal. And I've got a BIE registered embalmer who works for me full time, who's done 22 years, and he's never seen them before 2021. No.
Mm-hmm. So some people think they've seen some small ones in 2020, but that's not your experience. It's 2021 they started, midway through 2021.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
and that just happens to correlate with being 6 months after the onset of the some therapeutic intervention or other.
100%. Yeah, that I can tell you. I definitely believe that's what's causing this. And what's most upsetting is not the fact that we're seeing it, because it's become normalised now, but it's the reaction of the people when you raise the alarm and try to raise concerns about it. Nobody's interested. We're getting pretty much the same reaction that Andrew Bridgen, for example, is getting in Westminster.
Right, so you made 2 really good points there, John. First of all, this is something you're still seeing frequently. What kind of the bodies that you are embalming, what sort of frequency are we talking about?
I would say around a quarter of the bodies.
25%?
Yeah, around 25% overall. It's very interesting because as a funeral director, there are 2 types of death. We've got sudden deaths and we've got expected deaths. Where there's a sudden death, quite often those people are given a post-mortem. And during the post-mortem process, obviously the organs are removed. They take blocks and slides, and then they place the organs in a bag, and the bag goes back in the cavity, and it's sewn up. So clearly the embalming process is very different for someone who's been chopped about, for want of a better word. And we have to literally open them up, take those organs out, and manually target the arteries and inside the body cavity of that deceased. And that is where you see them then, because you're at the very core of that person's body. And you can see I've got an example here.
Thank you.
This is a particular sample we took recently from a deceased, and it was taken from the arteries purely because it was an obstruction. We couldn't get the embalming pump in the arteries to put the fluid around their body, and this is why. And it was interesting because I watched what you said a couple of nights ago, the other night, about them being a cast. And they are exactly that. They grow inside the arteries and veins, and they take the exact shape of those arteries and veins. And what I suspect happening is some people, for whatever reason, be that their blood type or what they've been given, perhaps, they're reacting in this way where they're growing this stuff inside them, and it's growing inside their arteries to the point where they're not getting adequate circulation, and they're falling over and they're dying. That's my theory based on what I'm seeing.
And to be clear, you're getting this from the venous circulation and the arterial circulation?
Yes, predominantly, actually, the arterial. As a funeral director, when we embalm, we go in to the arteries, and we feed the fluid round the arteries, and then it vacates the body via the venous. So I'm noticing in arteries, and it used to be really only in the veins that you would see the odd clot because it's lower pressure, it's a return system, and there's high pressure in the arteries.
Just like the plot of the interview.